Well, it's about time for us to learn how to tell time in Spanish. So this is Lecciones Preliminares, lesson on how to tell time. The first screen here shows us our important question, ¿Qué hora es? Let's get started. ¿Cómo decimos la hora en español? Let me give you some examples first, and then we'll go through some details. Para decir la hora, son las or es la are the two basic sentences. And here's what they mean. Son las, es la, for it is 5 o'clock, etc. A las or a la, when you want to tell when something is going to take place. Es la una de la tarde, it's 1 in the afternoon. Tengo clase a la una de la tarde, at 1 in the afternoon. Now, the way we're going to go through this is with a regular analog clock. I know most of us these days see everything in digital, but unfortunately we all have to be able to tell time. So let's go back to first grade and remind ourselves what this is. 10 o'clock, right? Son las 10. Pretty easy. Now that you know your numbers, this is going to be a cinch. Yeah? Got it? Son las 5. Now let's add a few minutes. 5 o'clock, but it's also 10 minutes past. How would we do that? Oh, easy. And 10 minutes. Y 10. Son las 5:10. Do you remember? Es la una. And since this one's straight up on the clock, no extra minutes, you could add the little phrase en punto. I'm going to give you some of those to write down in a minute. There are two ways to say this one. The first, son las 8:15. Or you can say, son las 8:15. 15 is the word for 15. What's the other way to say that, though? 15 minutes after, or, yeah, a quarter after, a quarter past. And that's what cuarto means. Easiest way, son las 3:30. Half past. But you could still say, son las 3:30. 30 minutes past. Alright, so what do we have so far? If you have a few minutes after the hour, you're going to use the word y. And if you have a quarter past, or it's actually a half past the hour, there are two extra words that you can use, cuarto and media. Those are in your vocab list. Now you know what they mean. But what if it's starting to head up toward the new hour? Well, if we were to divide a clock face in half, thinking about the minute hand as it sweeps around like this, anytime it's from a minute past down to 30 minutes, you're going to use the word and say it's 2 o'clock and so many minutes. It's 5 o'clock and so many minutes. But once this starts to swing back toward the new hour, from 31 minutes after, which would be here, all the way up to 59 minutes, we're going to use a different structure. This one's kind of a puzzle and it's fun to figure it out. The word menos means minus. So really what we're going to do is we're going to think about the new hour that's headed toward minus however many minutes it has yet to get there. Let's look at some examples. Here it's headed toward 10 o'clock. How many minutes away? 5, 10, 15, 20. So it's 20 minutes till 10. Or 10 o'clock minus 20 minutes. So that's how they say it. Son las 10 menos 20. Here's another. It's a quarter till 7. So we get son las 7 menos cuarto. Quarter till 7. And here are some extra words. that you're going to want to add to your vocabulary list. They're not already there. On the dot, I already showed you, means uh, right straight up, in punto. And then we need to add the words for noon and midnight. And then, do you remember how to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening? Buenas tardes. And we use that word for afternoon. And then buenas noches. That would be for the evening. Those two terms would happen after 12 noon, so you could add de la tarde or de la noche to your time frame to clarify which part of the day it is. Now, you don't say del dia for AM, you say in the morning. And the word for morning is la mañana. Pause if you need to record these words in your notes. But I'm going to continue on. Here we go. Do you remember what this one is? Es medianoche. Son las 12. It could also be es mediodía. Now let's practice. From this point forward, we're going to look at a clock time. I'm going to give you a moment or two to try to figure it out on your own. If you want to review those notes before you begin, do that first. Here we go. By the way, it's las because the word for time or hour is the word hora, and that's a feminine word. This one literally means it's 9 hours. It's on the 9th hour. Oh, clever if you'd gotten in punto. You don't have to say that each time. There are two ways to say this one. Son las 12:30, or you could also say son las 12:30. This one's tricky. Good job if you remember to change it to es la. How come it's es la? Well, how many hours is 1 o'clock? Isn't it just 1 hour? That's singular. So you say es la instead of son las. And yes, it would be fine to say y 15. Son las 11:25. Oh, now the minute hand has turned blue because we're looking at the minutes headed toward the new hour. So that's 1:45. All right. Your last step is to try to figure out how to say these 6 times. Notice that I've written PMs and AMs so that you try to figure out to say whether it's de la mañana, de la tarde, or de la noche. Pause the video here if you're going to stop and try to figure them out before you proceed. By the way, you will be asked in your quiz tomorrow to be able to tell me one of these 6 times. Here are the answers. Look all of this over, and we'll play with telling time tomorrow in class. Adios.